everyone, and I am very excited to do this video course with you. I recently listened to a podcast where a world-renowned doctor, she's a female doctor, she actually started off research in dementia and Alzheimer's that runs in her family. And she realized that there's a big correlation between menopause and it not being treated well and people ending up with dementia and Alzheimer's in their old age. So I absolutely loved to listen to this podcast, and I just had to tell you guys more about it because as I was listening to this podcast, I sat there and I realized, oh my word, me as a female in my 30s, I have absolutely no clue of half of the things she talked about. And how is it that I'm in my 30s and the next 20 years of my life and what you expect and what might happen to my body and in my body? How can I help myself? I had absolutely no knowledge of menopause other than hot flashes. I think that's about, and mood swings. That's about the only thing we know. That's the only thing our mothers were taught and our grandmothers were taught. So I really have a passion for this specific topic, and I thought I'd do just a short video. Please note that I am not a specialist by any means. I listen to someone else talk, and I'm just giving this information to you because I really wish that someone could give me this information. So I thought I'd put it into a more digestible video for you guys, little condensed. Yeah, so I'm very excited for us to get started with this course. So let's see what we're going to look at today. So what will you learn in this video? What is menopause? What are the different stages of menopause? What symptoms can you expect during each stage of menopause? And what can you do now to help yourself during these different stages? Because all women who will listen to this video, you will be in different stages of menopause. And what can you do in each stage to assist your body and your mental health, your physical health, and how you can eat, what you should avoid, etc. And then how can we help you during menopause with muscle testing? Okay, so let's start off with what is menopause. And before I show you their definition or this lady's definition, I just thought menopause was, I don't know, I am actually quite ashamed about how ignorant I was about this topic. I just thought menopause meant that your period stopped, you know? One day you wake up, you used to have a monthly cycle, and then the next month you no longer had a cycle, and along with that you had some hot flashes, and that was it. Your period just stopped. So I am so ashamed of myself, but let's look at what is menopause. So the doctor I listened to is Dr. Lisa Mosconi, and she is brilliant. She says that menopause is a neurological event, not just hormonal, affecting the brain structure, the brain function, and your emotional regulation. She said something that was very interesting to me. She said that usually, when you deal with menopause, you will go to an OBGYN. Your OBGYN will treat you and help you. But she's actually a neuroscientist or a neurologist. I can't remember now, but she works with the brain. And they are doing research now to try and change to what type of doctor you should go to. In some countries, it's a collaboration between the neurology departments and the OBGYNs. So they will have both doctors on a menopause case instead of just an OBGYN. But this is not a widely practiced way of medicine when it deals with menopause. So I think it's very exciting. Hopefully the next couple of generations will get the proper help and support that they need from the medical system in order to treat menopause and help people with the symptoms of menopause. So I thought that was very interesting. So where even I used to think this is purely a hormonal change in your body, but once she started talking, it was actually logical. So in your brain, you have the pituitary gland and you have the hypothalamus. And these two glands communicate with your ovaries, and they communicate to produce what we call and what medicine calls your sex hormones. Progesterone and estrogen are the most commonly known ones. And so the moment those communications stops, it really affects your hormonal balance. But most importantly, it affects your brain. And I didn't know this. So she talks about how the female brain requires estrogen to function properly. The female body requires estrogen to create ATP. And so ATP is made in each cell, has a mitochondria. And in the mitochondria, we create energy. And that form of energy that we create in our bodies is called ATP. So the moment your estrogen levels starts dropping, the communication to your brain stops, it slows down. The production of ATP, which is energy, slows down. And so we see that it's not just a hormonal change in your body. It actually changes energy throughout your body. It changes how the brain functions. And she has nice scans. I didn't include any scans, it's not my work, but I'm sure if you go search her name, you will find her scans. She took brain scans of people before menopause and people during perimenopause, menopause, and after menopause, and how the brain, you know, differs in each stage. And so I just sat there, like I said, I felt so ashamed with myself that I didn't, as a female, I didn't know all of these things. So I'm very excited to go through it with you. So she also says that menopause there's some good news, okay? In her research, she has found that proper diet, hydration, movement, and appropriate medical support, like HRT, I think I have it later on, but HRT is hormone replacement therapy, can soften its impacts and even enhance post-menopausal quality of life. And so we see often when people in the past didn't know what effects perimenopause and menopause has on the body. And so they went untreated for it. Often they were treated in other ways that weren't helping and supporting the body. And because of that, the post-menopausal decline in health and their brain and in their bodies was bad. What they've seen with research is if you help the body properly during perimenopause and menopause, post-menopause, you will revert back to having your energy, having a good quality of life, good brain health, etc., etc. So I don't want to scare you in any way, and I don't want to be a negative Nancy or anything, but I think it is important that if you show these symptoms that you know where they actually come from and how you can treat them in the future. Okay, so what are these different stages of menopause? This was also something new to me. I just thought there was puberty and now you have a monthly cycle, and then there was, like I said, one day it's just boop, everything's gone. Now you have no monthly cycle, and with that comes hot flushes and I don't know. I don't know what, clearly I wasn't thinking. Okay, so let's look at the different stages. So the first stage is pre-menopause. And that happens from the moment you hit puberty, you will have a monthly cycle. And as long as that monthly cycle is consistent, that's premenopause. So premenopause means that you have a monthly cycle, everything is going well. Of course, you'll have a disease or syndromes that will contribute to this process not going well, which is like PCOS or endometriosis or fibroids. The MTHFR gene can all make the premenopause difficult, but we're not talking about that today. Stage 2 is what we call perimenopause. And I had absolutely no idea about perimenopause and what happens here, and that it actually it can last between 4 to 14 years. I was flabbergasted when I heard that. This usually starts between the age of 40 to 42, maybe mid 40s, close to your 50s. So this is when perimenopause usually affects females. Of course, each body is different, so we can't put a set time on it. Her research shows that the average age for perimenopause to start is about 42 years old. Then stage 3 is menopause, and that is actually a set date where you've had 12 consecutive months with absolutely no cycle, with no period. That is a date in time after those 12 months. It's considered menopause. And then after that is what they consider post-menopause. And that's how you will live out the rest of your life without any cycle. Okay, so let's look at stage 1, premenopause. And the reason I'm going through this stage is this is the stage where most of us have information. We understand this stage. We spend a lot of time in this stage, and and it's talked about now, and it's acceptable to talk about the premenopause stage. And the reason I'm going through the symptoms and things that you can do is, first of all, to support your body from a young age is good. You make preparations for the future, but also so we can see how the symptoms change from what we consider is normal for females. Even though it's not, all of us will have all of these stages, and each stage will be a normal stage for our bodies to go through. Every female that has lived a long life has gone through all of these stages. Okay, so it starts with puberty, and it's considered your normal menstrual cycles. Like I said earlier, that does not account for things like PCOS and endometriosis, etc., etc. Your hormones are at a balanced level. Your estrogen and your progesterone is balanced. Your brain is fully supported by estrogen. You have high energy levels, your cognitive abilities are sharp, and you have emotional regulation, and it comes easy to you to emotionally regulate. Okay, no menopausal symptoms. We'll get to that a bit later. Dr. Mosconi emphasizes that this is the baseline for the brain. Okay, so this is considered optimal functionality for the brain is during your premenopausal state. Your brain is healthy, it has enough energy, you have good metabolism and strong connectivity between your hormones and your brain. So this makes a lot of sense. We all know the older you get, the more tired you get. It's because estrogen goes down, your ATP and energy levels goes down. I'm so upset with myself that I've only found out this information now, because I've seen clients in their 50s who really had brain fog, and they didn't know it was a menopause symptom. And now I'm so happy that I've learned this information. In the future, that's something we know now, that the moment you feel like your brain activity, the amount that you could do, how you could think, you have that feeling where a word is at the tip of your tongue and you just can't get it. That brain fog is consistent for some people as a symptom in the perimenopause and menopause stage. But during your premenopause stage, you are bright and happy, and everything is a bit easier. Okay, so then we start with the perimenopause stage. This typically begins in the late 30s to early mid 40s. Like I said, the average age for the females they did research on was 42 years old, was the average for their study group. But we can see that it can happen a bit younger. It can happen when you are a bit older. In this stage, your hormones fluctuate wildly, especially estrogen drops intermittently, not steadily. What they mean with this is it can start out with symptoms that you don't even realize are actually symptoms. You might usually have in your premenopause stage, you might have a cycle that's 28, 29, 28, 29, maybe 27 days. before your new cycle starts. And all of a sudden, your cycle starts 23, 24, 25 days. So it starts a bit earlier, or your cycle, your period can last shorter or longer. It can be all of a sudden go from 7 days to 4 days, or the flow that you have during your cycle can increase or decrease. So that's what they mean with your hormones fluctuate. You can also maybe sometimes skip a period for 1 month, and the next month for a year or 2 years, you have it again. So this is all fluctuations that they suggest you take note of if you're in your late 30s to early mid 40s. Your ovulation becomes irregular. That's when you skip periods every now and again. And this is something you can check with your doctor as well, is how regular is your ovulation. Okay, so perimenopause symptoms are brain fog. That's what I told you guys earlier, where I've had clients with severe brain fog, and we just couldn't figure out where it's coming from. Is it anxiety? Is it not sleeping enough? What is it? Okay, memory lapses, that feeling where you have the word on the tip of your tongue, but you can't grasp the word. You know the word, but you just can't grasp it. Or you walk into a room, you had to do something, and you turn around and then you just never get it back. Or you forget about plans, or that you committed to something. And we're not talking about, this happens, obviously brain fog and memory lapses happen to all of us. And it can also be due to adrenal fatigue in the body. So don't get upset. It needs to be in conjunction with the cycle not being regular, or just skipping ovulations, things like that. Difficulty concentrating, anxiety, and mood swings. The mood swings is something we all know. Like I said, I just thought it was part of the menopause step. I didn't know it was part of the perimenopause step. Sleep disruptions. The sleep disruptions happens often due to fluctuations in temperature. So you'll get a hot flush, and then you'll all of a sudden, like a half an hour later, be ice cold, and your temperature is just irregular. And this causes a lot of sleep disruptions. And this is because the estrogen levels drop. And the hypothalamus is actually the organ in the body that deals with your body temperature. And estrogen works with the hypothalamus. And the moment the estrogen drops, the hypothalamus needs to adjust to the new level of estrogen in the body. And in order to find where its new baseline it fluctuates the temperature. The hot flashes that we said, migraines like headaches, lower stress tolerance, increased emotional sensitivity. Okay, so brain scans show a decline in glucose metabolism. We talked about this, how the ATP drops, particularly in areas related to memory and cognition, like the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. And this is the prefrontal cortex, and that's where we find the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus that deals or talks to the ovaries. Okay, so she calls this the neurological puberty in reverse. Okay, so this makes a lot of sense. So you go through puberty where all of a sudden you have an increase in estrogen and progesterone in the body, and it takes the body some time to get used to it, and you're moody and you have mood swings, and you feel like the world is against you. And this is just what happens in reverse. It reverts back to the state that your body functioned in before you had a cycle. Okay, and this is the most misunderstood phase of them all with regards to symptoms, because there's nothing wrong enough that they feel they can treat you. Like, you still have a cycle, but it's a bit shorter. There's no physical proof of menopause because you still have the cycle, but you have all of these symptoms. And in the past, these symptoms were considered psychological symptoms, and not often treated. So I thought it was very important to talk about specifically this phase. Menopause is phase 3. Like I said earlier, menopause is considered a definite point in time. okay, officially diagnosed after 12 consecutive months without a period. Estrogen and progesterone and other reproductive hormones fall to a low, stable level, which is the same that you had before you started puberty. Okay, so it's not like it's bad for the body to be in that state. You have survived in that state before. It just needs to get used to being in that state again. So we see they don't completely disappear, they just drop. Okay, so symptoms that you can expect in the menopause phase is persistent hot flashes or night sweats. Okay, and we see this already starts in the perimenopause phase. And that's why people used to think that they thought it was just a menopause symptom, but it is not. So if you were too young to be considered a person in menopause, if you were a person who still has a cycle, and you had the hot flushes or the brain fog, they would see it, well, you're not in menopause, so we can't treat you for this, which is not true. Okay, so just know that if you are experiencing these symptoms in your late 30s to early mid 40s, that you are not going crazy. It's normal, but there are things you can do. Okay. Vaginal dryness is a big part of menopause, lowered libido, continued brain fog, or mood swings in some people. It's very important to realize that not all women will have brain fog. And to also know that for not all women who have brain fog will they have postmenopausal symptoms of it, but they have seen in the research that women who have brain fog during premenopause and menopause tend to, in their old age, like 70s, 80s, have some sort of correlation to Alzheimer's or dementia. And it's not because the woman did anything wrong. It's because the body wasn't properly supported during these two phases. They've seen with support to the body, helping the body with food and other things that you can do, we're going to look at that later, that these symptoms do taper off and you get brain function back. So that's good news. Okay, so increased risk of depression or anxiety, fatigue, and sleep disturbances. Okay, so risk factors for Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, and osteoporosis increase from this point forward due to your hormone loss, due to the hormones lowering. So we'll look at some things you can do to help the body. Okay, and then stage 4, postmenopause. This is what you'll live the rest of your life after menopause. Hormones stay consistently low, but symptoms often improve. The brain adapts to the new baseline. The neuroplastic rewiring occurs in the brain. Okay, and potential outcomes are your emotions will turn back to a calm and improved level. You'll have improved self-confidence. You'll have reduced anxiety, less reactive amygdala, which means that not everything will seem so threatening to the body. Your emotion will taper down a bit and create a new normal for you again. And you'll have a return of your mental clarity. So that brain fog tends to alleviate for a lot of women. But long-term risks like dementia, cognitive decline, and bone loss remain unless proactively addressed. So this is what I said. We need, as women, we need to support our bodies during stage 2 perimenopause and stage 3 menopause, so that the rest of our lives aren't lived with dementia and cognitive decline and bone loss. We want to live a good life where we are happy. Okay. So she also says that many women find that this phase, surprisingly, is where they find themselves. It's empowering. They find a lifestyle, they find the dietary support that their body needs, and they become very confident. Okay, so what can you do during each stage to help yourself? Okay, so the premenopause stage is you can eat a healthy diet to support the brain, because that in the end is some of the biggest symptoms you'll have in the future. So if your brain is already healthy, then going through perimenopause and menopause, you'll probably not have the brain fog and the heightened emotions to an extent where someone, for example, that didn't support the brain and the body during the first stage. So we're just making sure that the body is strong and the body is healthy and communication is good in the body, that it doesn't take the organs forever to get used to the new baseline. So how you can do that is a Mediterranean style diet they found in research is the best. So a lot of omega-3s, fatty fish, walnuts, antioxidants like berries and leafy greens, whole grains and legumes are very good. This is actually normal, healthy diet. This is what I'll tell any person who sees me for any dietary problems to eat the majority of. And so we see it really does help people with menopause. Exercise as much as you can. She says the most important thing is for this specific problem for exercise is you shouldn't be able to sing while you exercise, but you should be able to talk. That should be enough. Okay. Sleep well, 7 to 9 hours. Manage your stress, whether it is through meditation. I love taking scripture and meditating on scripture, mindfulness or therapy, whatever works for you. Limit your toxins, so avoid plastics, pesticides, and heavy alcohol use. This is considered things that will really strain the body during the menopausal phases. Stay hydrated. And why it matters, a healthy lifestyle before symptoms begins gives your brain and body resilience for the hormonal changes ahead. Okay, so during stage 2 perimenopause, you can go during perimenopause, you support your brain through the hormone roller coaster. So what can you do? Track your cycle and symptoms. The Flow app is very cool. They really have a wide variety of things you can track, and it is affordable. You can pay yearly or monthly for the Flow app, and they do have doctors on the app as well that will help flag things if should you need such help. Continue clean nutrition. Add flax seeds, soy, and legumes to your diet specifically during this stage. Support your sleep with magnesium. I use magnesium glycinate. It's a really good supplement to help with sleep. Make sure that you keep to a sleep routine and reduce screen time at night. Hydrate more intentionally. Make sure that you have estrogen helps to retain water in the body. And now you might struggle with that. So make sure that I put electrolytes in my water. Really helps to hydrate the body. So you can do something like that. Make sure that your pH of your water is above 8. That also really helps to hydrate the body. Exercise smarter. So make sure that if you are someone who tends to do strength training, maybe move to a bit more walking and cycling, and try to reduce overtraining your body. Prioritize your mental health. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps with mood swings and anxiety therapy, muscle testing. There's so many things you can do to help with your emotions. Talk to your doctor about HRT. HRT is the hormone replacement therapy that we talked about. And she really says that early HRT can protect your brain. So specifically during this phase, you can start off with hormone replacement therapy. She suggested that hormone replacement therapy is done through patches and not through medicine because the patches are a bit easier on the other organs. And they've also done biological hormone replacements and not synthetic ones. She also suggests that you don't go for lab-made hormones, but for natural hormones. So, and she talks, if you search her on Google, you might find it's so difficult because you don't find in different countries, we don't have the same medicine. So it's so difficult to suggest medicine. And I don't know, I didn't even look at it. So I'd suggest you go to a doctor and ask for natural hormones and not synthetic hormones. And why this matters, this is the most symptom-heavy phase. Lifestyle adjustments and early interventions can greatly reduce suffering and long-term risk. Okay, during the menopause phase, this is the checkpoint, but it's not the end. Okay, what can you do? This is where you consider hormone replacement therapy, best started within 10 years of menopause. So she calls it bioidentical hormones or patches that have lower risk. Keep moving. So regular exercise, focus on brain health with your omega-3s. Make sure that you do new things, play games or puzzles or new skills where you work with your hands just to make sure that your neurological pathways keep moving. Okay, and then bone health. You can add calcium and vitamin D to make sure that your bones are healthy, and address intimacy and vaginal health with lubricants should you need to. Okay, so estrogen loss is permanent from this stage on. The focus now is preserving cognition, mood, and metabolic health. Okay, and then stage 4. This is the postmenopause stage, and this is a long-term stage where you will live in until you die one day. And so this is a part where we want to protect the brain and the body. So what can you do? Maintain an anti-inflammatory diet. Inflammation really hypes up in this stage and can cause a lot of problems in the body. So make sure that you try and eat and drink things that doesn't cause inflammation in the body. Keep estrogen mimicking foods and healthy fats in your diet. Monitor your brain and your heart health. Annual checkups, do cognition screenings if needed. Okay, stay socially engaged. Make sure that you have a support system, that you connect with people. That is so important for us as human beings. So make sure that you don't fall into depression. Keep moving and lifting. So keep up with your exercises. Practice emotional self-care. This phase often brings clarity and confidence. And though hormone levels are low, your brain adapts. Support it with purpose, connection, and nutrition. Okay, should you want to just have a quick recap of what is important, you can take a photo of this. Okay, so how can we help you with muscle testing and therapy? So first of all, removing any trauma or trapped emotions or trauma frequencies that's stuck in the brain and in the reproductive system, or any underlying causes that can lead to or contribute to you having worse symptoms or maybe permanent damage in your body. So working in the ovaries, working in the reproductive system, working in the brain, I'd work in the bones, and anything that we know is contributing factors, anxiety, maybe you struggle with diet, to muscle test and see what is blocking you, what is causing these problems, to try and make it easier on the body. Make sure that the brain and glands are communicating correctly and that there's no trauma and frequencies in the way. Work on any epigenetic markers that might contribute to symptoms. So if you maybe have an epigenetic marker that have already caused PCOS, MTHFR, endometriosis, those types of things, to try and work with those things on an energetic level so that the body has an easier time when you physically assist it. Other things, maybe you have later stage issues like the arthritis or dementia, Alzheimer's, those types of things as an epigenetic marker, to work on the contributing factors of that as well. Okay, should you need any more personal help, please feel free to book a live session with me to continue this process. Okay, I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I hope you learned as much as I did and that this helps you as much as it helped me. Okay, guys, see you next time. Please feel free to leave a comment. If you like this video, click the like button. Remember to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to ring the bell.